Hey guys, SuperHorrorBro Mike here, and in today's Dark Deception theory, we take a look at a theory to explain both the story behind Agatha and the terrifying Gold Watchers, the two new enemy types who inhabit the hell portals of the game's second chapter. What happened to these characters and what do they represent? What can they tell us about our character and others such as Bierce? Watch on to find out. Let us begin with an examination of Agatha. This demonic schoolgirl at first greets us with a pleasant demeanour and welcomes us to her schoolhouse. She seems friendly and wishes to befriend us.
It's really nice to have someone new to play with.
Until she discovers we are after her soul shards, the souls of others who are trapped within this hell portal, who have all fallen to her gnarly looking scissor hands. And while we fixate on these hands, it's worth noting that not only are they super long and feature super sharp claws on each hand, but they also look like they have been burnt. A theme that runs throughout the school itself, as we see blackened walls and open flames all over the place. More on this later. Agatha then chases us around the school in a deadly game of cat and mouse, and wishes to add us to a growing collection of trapped souls in what Bierce refers to as her dollhouse.
How creative. It's her victims. The school has become her dollhouse.
Another thing to note about Agatha is her dislike for Bierce. In fact, dislike is perhaps too soft a term. Agatha downright hates this mysterious witch-like woman. We see pictures such as this scrawled on the wall, and just listen to how Agatha erupts at Bierce as she helps us escape the school.
It's open.
Bierce, stay out of my room!
There's some kind of history there, right? Well, if we listen to Bierce's secret audio diary extracts, and don't worry, we'll cover this in a future theory, you'll notice that before ruling over this purgatory-like limbo that we find ourselves trapped in, she used to be an aspiring actress who was married to an affluent man who mixed with some very shady people.
Edgar is having another one of his degenerate parties tonight. He and his friends like to pretend they're such devils, dressing up and spouting mumbo-jumbo out in the garden at midnight. Every so often they pay one of the call girls a little extra to be their sacrifice.
These powerful men Bierce spoke of seemed to be involved in demonic rituals and had formed their own twisted cult. Eventually we get the sense that Bierce met a mysterious man through her husband's rituals, and in a bid to gain the fame she desired, agreed to the sacrifice of a young woman.
Victor has shown me the ritual. I know all the words by heart. All we need is a sacrifice. None of Edgar's tramps will do, but the maid has a daughter that might do nicely.
It sure sounds like that was Bierce's intention, and this would certainly explain why Agatha has such strong feelings towards her, if she is in fact the girl in question, the maid's daughter. While exploring the schoolyard, you may have stumbled across this creepy Easter egg, a hidden room with a crudely drawn sketch of Agatha wrapping her arms around an oddly placed well. This seems at first incredibly random. However, if our first theory that Bierce and the mysterious man from her diary entries sacrificed Agatha is true, then it makes a whole lot of sense. There is a popular horror movie called The Ring, or Ringu in Japan. This film is based around the legend of a Yurei, a paranormal figure within Japanese mythology. Yurei is a young woman or child who was wronged during their lifetime, perhaps for example by being murdered and so returned as a ghost to torment those who did them harm. In the movie The Ring, the Yurei is a young woman murdered and thrown down a well, who then comes after anyone who watches a haunted videotape showcasing that well. Now this seems like a clue which provides us evidence that Agatha was indeed the maid's daughter from the sacrifice Bierce mentioned. Perhaps her remains were even disposed of down the well found on Bierce's land. After all, she makes mention that Agatha had an unmarked grave.
An unmarked grave. It must be hers.
And this theory also may explain the reason for all the fire and burnt walls, as well as Agatha's scorched body itself. Many rituals, especially pagan rituals, involve fire and the torching of items, sometimes even human sacrifice on a pike above an open flame. So it is then logical to conclude that this is further evidence for our Bierce and Agatha theory. Agatha was the maid's daughter, used in a ritual by Bierce to help her appease the gods and become the famous actress she desired. Although that didn't quite work out, as she ended up ruling over this strange underworld, collecting souls to gain an almighty power. Kinda backfired on you there, didn't it, Bierce? So we kind of have the whole Agatha theory down then, right? Well, not quite, as there is one more piece of evidence to explore which I believe relates directly to our own character. A second hidden room with a chilling child's drawing on a whiteboard. The drawing is of a car driving off the road and into a lake. The car is on fire and the dad seems to be watching while the mother and daughter sink and burn. It's pretty morbid. Not only that, but writing appears across the walls, with lines such as "no forgiveness" and "heartless." And while we are analysing this secret room, let's quickly jump to a secret room found within the Gold Watcher mansion, where we see some similar lines scrawled across the walls. In this hidden room we see lines such as "they were weak," "you deserve better," "let them go," and "you didn't need her then, you don't need her now." So does this suggest that the character we are playing as is not only male, but also the father of Agatha and the husband of the maid referenced in Bierce's diary? Does Bierce know us better than she is letting on, and is this the reason why we are connected to all of these different worlds? The reason Agatha seems to know about other demons, such as the murder monkeys, which are also tied to our character. Did Bierce proposition our character, asking for the lives of his family in return for something he desired? Perhaps something such as great wealth? Well, perhaps, but these are a whole bunch of conclusions to jump to all at once, and we are still waiting on the big picture being explained in future chapters of the game. For now, I would suggest that Agatha is not directly tied to our character. She doesn't seem to at any point acknowledge us as her father, or even someone she has met before. But as this room seems to be speaking directly to us with quotes like, "they trusted you," it seems likely that our character is the dad depicted in this image, and rather Agatha is simply assuming the role of one of these demons haunting him. And this father figure we play as was obviously tormented by the relationship with his family, perhaps because he felt they held him back from accomplishing his true goals. But for now we can only speculate as to why he may have carried out such a heinous crime. Either way, as we discussed in our previous Dark Deception theory, I believe these portals are the private circles of hell, belonging to people who have committed various sins while alive on Earth. Our character is now dead and begging for retribution and forgiveness in a purgatory-like limbo where only Bierce has the power to seemingly grant him absolution. So this schoolroom portal would be a place where anyone who had committed sins against a child, such as driving them off-road in a burning car for example, would end up to atone for them. We know many souls have fallen here before and now remain trapped forever, and the demon in question is the soul of a girl sacrificed and entrapped by a demonic cult. This also raises the question that, as Malak seems to preside and rule over these hell portals, perhaps he is the one keeping the spirit of sacrifices such as Agatha trapped here. After all, surely Agatha wasn't an evil person on Earth, she was only a child. So could our work within the story of Dark Deception be leading to a resolution where we free these trapped souls? We see this referenced in the Gold Walker stage. It is written in plain sight right outside the mansion gates. Is Bierce herself trying to atone for the sins she committed while on Earth and using our character as a middleman? It feels at this point appropriate to wrap up this theory with a brief look at the Gold Watchers and my personal theory as to what the deal is with these guys. If these are hell portals and Agatha's portal is for those who have performed crimes against kids, then what exactly does this deadly decadence portal represent? Well, this one is pretty easy. Greed. Greed makes up one of the 7 deadly sins, and according to ancient text, living a greedy, gluttonous lifestyle would give you a one-way ticket to hell upon Judgment Day. This entire chapter is based around debauched decadence. At the beginning of the chapter, we see an odd phrase in Latin painted on the wall. It reads, "Libera tua me," which translates to, "Free yourself from hell." So this backs up the theory that this is a hell portal we must escape from, and that Malak may well be a devil-like figure inside. Now, the Gold Watchers themselves can only move when we aren't looking directly at them, almost as if they are ashamed to be looked upon and freeze once again. These statues are made from pure gold, hence their name, and we can see the process of how they are made when unlocking this secret within the mansion itself. Bierce comments,
They're using the ring's power to create living statues. What a waste.
So it seems the souls of these once rich sinners are trapped within the bodies of these statues to forever haunt whoever enters their realm. Trapped ironically inside the one thing they always coveted on Earth, gold. But being rich alone is not enough to make someone an inherently bad person, and this wasn't the case for the souls trapped inside these Gold Watchers. We see from messages around the manor the terrible values they led their life by while on Earth. Divine judgment falls on peasants throughout these halls. Peasants shall serve, and he who has the gold makes the rules. These warped concepts basically tell us everything we need to know about the wicked souls sent to this particular realm of hell. They believed in the value of money and prospect of wealth over human life itself, a truly evil way to live, and exactly why these villainous people find themselves trapped in a maze of deadly decadence and chased by the very gold they once held so dear. In fact, as stated before, some of these souls seem to be trapped inside the very statues themselves. And this brings us to the final point I would like to raise in today's video. If we have any kind of connection to this realm, then that may lend further evidence to our theory that the character we are playing as was a dad who murdered his family as a way to gain great riches. Whether this ties him to Bierce and her affluent husband or not, we will have to wait and see. But I do hope this theory has given you some interesting ideas to play around with while we eagerly await Dark Deception Chapter 3. And that's it for today's video. Please remember to give it a like if you did enjoy watching, and maybe drop a comment too, as well as subscribing to the channel and turning on notifications so you never miss an upload. This channel specializes in variety horror content, including creepypasta readings, horror gaming facts and theories, and general interest pop culture horror videos. So if you're interested in all things spooky, you'll find something to enjoy here at SuperHorrorBro. Thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next video.